Hello, everyone, and welcome to Author to Author. Well, you now know me as a publisher, but today is Author to Author, author Brandy Hunt, speaking with author Veniece Washington. Welcome, Veniece.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. I think we have a lag, so don't just ignore that. So we'll just start off with the beginning. So tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about yourself.
I'm Venice. I'm 17 years old. I go to Paul Six High School, and I wrote a book. I enjoy writing. I enjoy singing. I actually used to do cheerleading, but I stopped, and I'm just loving life.
That's awesome. I was a cheerleader in high school too. I did 10th grade through 12th grade, and then in the 12th grade, I busted my knee, and so I could not finish and go be a Dallas Cowgirl. My listeners already know that was my dream. I want to be a Dallas Cowgirl. So, but welcome. So you're 17 years old, and this is your senior year of high school?
Yes.
So congratulations. Do you have any big plans of where you're going next?
I'm hoping to go to Rowan University and study in the writing arts program, and maybe in childhood education.
Childhood education?
Yes.
That'd be awesome. So what made you want to venture out into not necessarily writing a book, but just being a writer and sharing stories and things like that?
Well, I've always loved writing. I've loved writing ever since I was around 6 or 7. I would write little short stories on my free times when I got bored, and teachers and stuff would take notice, and I just had a very fun time. I just loved to write. I ended up writing a story as a fun summer project when I was in 4th grade, and eventually it spiraled and it turned into this book.
So this wasn't your first project. This was your second project?
This was actually supposed to be my first project, but I decided to because it came out very a 10-year-old wrote it. So I decided to rewrite it and make it more mature for teenagers. And this happened.
Awesome. Did you have help?
I'm sorry?
Did you have someone help you?
No.
When you say you did the rewrite, because you felt like the first time around it was for 10-year-olds, so you wanted to rewrote it?
Yes.
So did you write it when you were younger?
Yes, I wrote it. It came off very iffy a bit, so I wrote it again in a more mature way.
Okay. And what is the title of your book?
It's called How I Overcame Middle School.
How I Overcame Middle School. Every middle schooler needs it. So tell us a little bit about tell us a little bit about what made you want to write a book about how I overcame middle school.
So basically, there's a lot of bullying in the world. There's kids that have taken their lives for bullying. I've seen bullying in my own community. I've seen bullying with my own eyes. And I see this seriousness in bullying. Sorry, I'm kind of nervous.
No, you're fine. It's okay. It's just me and you.
That's all right. So basically, bullying is a very serious issue in the world, and I want to be one of the voices that end it.
That's awesome. Were you ever bullied yourself?
Mildly, not in an extreme way. I've faced my own challenges, of course, but that's just life, I guess.
Absolutely. Life is a series of challenges. So with the other people that you saw being bullied, what were some of the things that you saw happening?
I would see people, actually just mild bullying that I would see in my own community. I'd see people calling other people names, saying things about them in front of other people, just degrading each other.
And where do you think, everything comes from somewhere, so everything has a root cause. Where do you think bullies get the reason why they're bullies?
Maybe they just do it because sometimes they're insecure. Sometimes they feel like it makes them look better. Sometimes they're just intimidated by the person they're bullying. Sometimes they're jealous
What do you think that they would be jealous
of maybe sometimes the lifestyle that they have. Maybe if it's a girl, maybe they're after a boy that they're after a boy, and they think that the boy likes the victim, so they start bullying them. Sometimes they
Right.
just bully kids to their appearance or because of the stuff that they're into. Because they're smart, maybe because you think they're prettier than them and stuff.
Yeah, so it's just like a sense of power and control over someone else because you don't have whatever that thing is that you want. So since you can't have that thing, you'll just exercise power and control over them.
Yes, they feel as though it makes them feel better if they put this person down.
Absolutely. And so I see you have a scripture on the front of your book. It's one of my favorite. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. What are
Yes.
some things, what are some ways that you encourage people who have been bullied?
Because I usually use my personal experiences, like with my challenges with my bullying, I was able to overcome it through prayer. And like basically, I didn't think that I would ever get out of some of those situations, or I thought I would have to endure some of that stuff for the rest of my life. But through prayer, I got out of those situations and I became a stronger individual.
What were some of those situations?
Like kids would call me names, they'd make fun of me. Like I actually had some kids so like when I was in younger years, I used to talk a lot. Like I was nonstop talking a lot. So when I came older, I thought I would become like a little bit more quiet. I stayed more to myself, and kids would make fun of me over that. I've had people call me like names from ugly to even racist and sexual names, and those all qualify as bullying.
Yeah, it's just a tough world that we live in. I remember when I went to sixth grade, and I moved from North Carolina to South Carolina, and I went to sixth grade so when I got to South Carolina, that was my first school here. And when I got to school, this girl started picking on me out of nowhere. And I was like, I'm not even bothering her. Like, I'm minding my own business. She took it so far that she lived in my neighborhood, and she took it so far as to try to chase me home off of the bus. Like it
Oh,
was literally, but there was never any rhyme or reason. And then some other girls saw her trying to bother me, and they jumped in. Nobody ever fought, but it was like unnecessary. It would just seem like it was all so unnecessary. Do you think some of the school shootings that happened because of bullying?
for the most part, yes, because I guess they feel as though they're getting back at the people that wronged them. Sometimes people just push them to that point. Like
Mhm.
obviously, murder is never the answer. So yeah,
Right,
mental.
and a lot of times innocent people get caught in the crossfire. It's not just the person who was picking on you. Usually when they come back with a gun, it's everybody who's in this, in the gunman's range of fire. So that's an unfortunate thing that people have to go through because one person can't control their own emotions and
Yeah.
outbursts or their own, jealousy. So what are some of the ways that you found that to help you overcome those feelings of, I would assume you have feelings of like anxiety, rejection, abandonment. Talk about that a little bit.
So most of my stuff I get from the Bible. I see Bible verses and stuff that usually help with my anxiety. Sometimes try talking to somebody, like talking to a parent, talk to a teacher you trust, a friend, maybe a pastor if you go to church, just anybody you feel comfortable with talking to.
And so how do you feel now that you're on the other side and you're not in middle school anymore, getting ready to graduate? Did the people change or did you change? Or was it a little bit of both?
I feel in a way it's sort of both, but sometimes not all people change. Like there are bullies that are still older. Sometimes people just never can grow up.
Do you feel
But
like the school system supported you and supports people whose other children who get bullied?
I'm sorry I didn't hear that.
Do you feel like the school system has a good support team?
Um, I guess it depends on the school you go to, because most schools like have zero tolerance for bullying, but the schools that don't take bullying seriously, I have a problem with because there are kids that can literally die from being bullied, and the fact that some people still don't take it seriously, it just doesn't really make sense to me.
What would you say? So we know that nobody can make you do anything, right? So if I'm being bullied and I go home and I commit suicide, I'll see the news heading, bully makes child commit suicide. How do you feel about that?
It makes me sad, and to see that a human life was lost because some people thought that they had some sort of power over that person, or they felt defeated in that moment. They didn't know what else to do, but that was their last resort. And I
Right.
felt like that was the life that could have been saved, but they didn't get their help in time.
So when I see it, I often wonder if there's something that could have been said. Because here's the thing, it's unfortunate, but bullies are everywhere. They go from being your childhood foe to being your bully in high school to now being your supervisor or manager or the person in the car next to you. Bullies are literally everywhere around the world. And if we don't teach our children how to offset this pain of being the attracted one of the bully, then kids are going to continue to think that that's the way out, because if I can't stop the bullying, then I'll just stop my life. But life continues. It goes on. There is help for you. And I know there's been some horrible, horrible circumstances. Like I remember seeing this girl, she was actually, I guess she got drunk, and then the guy took like a video of her and put it all over the internet, and then she committed suicide because of that. I wish I could have reached out to her and provided her some counseling or something, because to let her know her life didn't have to end, because that was very embarrassing and it was very degrading, but life still goes on. So what would you say to someone who's watching this right now that says, you know what, I have a bully at school and I really am ready to end my life, and I just don't know what else to do? Is there anything that you talk about in your book or anything that you could say right now to give them some hope and encouragement?
I guess just hold on, because pain is temporary, but death is forever. Like once you can't change your mind once you've committed suicide, but you can always get yourself out of a bad situation. You can start over. You can try going to a new school or new wherever you're being bullied at. Like there are other options than suicide, and just like hold on. Like it seems bad right now. It seems like you're not gonna get out, but you will eventually. And when you do, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, and keep reporting it. If one teacher doesn't hear you, tell another teacher. If that teacher doesn't hear you, tell the principal. If the principal don't hear you, tell the pastor. Keep telling somebody until somebody does something that works. It is never the end. And I think that was perfect what you said, Veniece. You know what? It's not the end. It might feel like the end, but it's not the end. So if you keep going and keep going, and I know it's crazy to say, yeah, keep showing up so the bully can keep beating me up. But no, we're not saying that. If you're being abused in any kind of way, and let's back up to somebody talking bad to you and somebody putting their hands on you, it's two different things. If somebody's actually having an altercation with you and fighting you and things like that at your school, at your job, at where, that is unacceptable behavior, and that needs to go to the police. No one in this world should be able to put their hands on you and not be in jail or juvenile hall or something like that. Not on the right now. I know there's times that people get in one fight and everybody gets in trouble, detention, whatever the case may be. But if this person is allowed to beat up on me every single day and nobody's doing anything about it, that's a federal offense. So that needs to keep going until somebody addresses it. Bullying is a huge ordeal in our nation. And while I'm upset about coronavirus, not upset about it, but life has shifted because of coronavirus. Kids aren't going to school. I actually am more happy about the kids being home and there's not as much drama. There's not school shootings because nobody's at school. Our kids are safe at home. It's a different world, but it's also somewhat safer for our children now. What do you think about that?
I think that's a bit better because it lessens the chances of somebody like physical bullying, that lessens the chances. There's less drama and with friends and with relationships and stuff, but it can still take place virtually. Like I've been hearing of kids that get bullied on their Zoom classes. Like kids send messages back and forth bullying somebody.
Really?
Yes. So that's just
That is
another
crazy.
it's just another version of cyberbullying, really.
Yeah, that's what I
Another,
was going to say. It must be cyberbullying. And if that's happening, it's still unacceptable.
yes.
The teacher should be stepping in, the principal should be stepping in. That student should not be allowed to continue that behavior just because they're a student. And I think if the louder you bark, not say your dog, but the louder you scream and holler and say, hey, this is wrong, the more people will pay attention to you. It's unfortunate in our world, we have to scream so loud before we get help. Being a domestic violence survivor, I can tell you that even in that type of bullying, because that's just a form of another form of bullying. Remember the kid who was at the school, he just turns into a husband or she just turns into a wife. They're still bullies. They just do it in a different capacity. They may not change. And so it's up to us to learn how to respond to situations like this. Do you have your book nearby? I see you got the big cover behind you.
And I do have the paperback right here.
I like it. How can the people get in contact with you to get it?
It's actually available on Amazon.com right now, and you can get either the ebook or the paperback. And there's a link in my Instagram bio that takes you straight to the Amazon page.
Okay, I'll make sure that I get it and post it with the video when it comes out. Is there anything you like to read out of the book?
Yes, I can read to you something that I wrote. So this is the victim, the main character, talking towards the end. It's not going to be any. I'm going to try not to include any spoilers in here. I'm just going to read to you how he ends up feeling after it's all said. Okay, she writes. Right. Wow, what a week! I still can't believe how far I came. I went from being completely. I'm sorry. I went from being completely hopeless and alone to being happy with my friends. I guess that's what prayer can do. Think about it. Before I started back praying and reading the Bible, the situation was completely hopeless. But the minute I started back, everything started picking up. At first, it started off a bit rocky, but the Lord works in mysterious ways. Who would have thought what I went through on Thursday would have paid off later? I guess the situation really does have to get worse before it gets better sometimes. I just couldn't lose faith, and I had to keep trusting that God would help me, and He did. Where would I be if I didn't start praying and reading the Bible again? I guess this is a great example of the power of prayer.
Good. I like it.
Thank you.
That definitely sounds inspirational. So it's written from a fiction standpoint?
Yes, it's written from a 13-year-old girl's point of view.
Okay. And so have you reached out to like middle schools to see if they would want to get it in the library or anything like that?
My mom is actually trying to get stuff like that done.
Good, awesome. Well, I think they would be elated to know that another young person wrote it, you know, because adults write books like that all the time. But just to know, and even if you're old school, you know, who the school you actually went to had it in their library, I think that would be such a great honor for you. So along with readers, we also talk to aspiring authors, and you being so young, I'm so glad to have you on the show today because a lot of my authors are older. You know, I'm 40 years old. I tell you, my daughter is 20. So it's not often that you see young people, you know, really taking on their purpose in life so early. How did it feel to become a new author?
It felt pretty sweet, actually, especially me being this young. And it just feels really good to get my message out, to get my message out to the world.
That's awesome. And do you have any other books coming out? Do you have any anything in the works that we need to be waiting for?
I actually am in the planning of a second, like a sequel of this book, but I don't think it will be out for a while now.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely stay connected. I know I'll stay connected with you, and those watching will stay connected with you because this will be on multiple platforms. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do not.
Okay.
But I have
Instagram. I know you have Instagram. What's your Instagram?
It's at I am.
Say that one more time.
I am Veniece.
Okay, and I'll make sure that I drop that below the link when this video plays as well. And so is there any advice that you would give a young author, a young entrepreneur, somebody who might be a little timid or a little afraid to jump out there and start their new venture, and not necessarily write a book, because that might not be for everybody, but speak to and encourage today another young entrepreneur?
Just go for it. Follow your dreams. Just do whatever it is you feel you're called to do, and just go for it, I guess.
Good, thank you. And then for, again, those children who may be being bullied, you know what, who else I want you to talk to? Someone who is actually a bully.
A bully?
Yes, somebody's watching this and they might be the bully. I often wonder if people who bully other people, they know they're bullies. They don't have to be told. But I wonder if they lack encouragement, and they lack hope, and they lack love, because bullies bully because they're somewhere inside they lack love. So encourage someone who feels like they have to bully other people to make their way in life.
I guess just like you find confidence inside of you, not by putting other people down. You have, in order to feel good about yourself, truly, you have to find it in yourself. Just take a nice big look at you in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful and there's nothing anyone can do about it. And just be careful with your words, because sometimes you can say things to people that you don't even know might hurt them. Sometimes, just treat people the way you want to be treated, basically.
I love it. That's the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and the world will work out just fine. So do you have any last and final words? Do you have any questions for me before we bid our audience goodbye?
I actually just wanted to say really quickly to also be careful. Basically everybody in a way has a part in bullying, whether people know so or not, because the different severities of bullying also qualifies bullying, like social bullying, like gossiping about people. Because at some point, somebody, whoever's watching this, you were the bully, or you were the person being bullied, or maybe you were the one watching the bullying and you said something, or maybe you didn't. But in a way, everybody has a part in bullying. And if you're the person that stands by and watches it happen and do nothing, please try to step in, because you could be saving a life. You never know. And to the bullies out there, just be better people. Just treat people however you want to be treated.
That's excellent advice. Excellent advice. Well, again, I am author and publisher Brandy Hunt. My special guest today has been Veniece Washington. If you've been watching this and you want a copy of her book, you can run over to Amazon or click the link below. And if you want to do an interview like me and Veniece have done today, and you're an author, you can email me at publish, the letter U, 00@gmail.com. And then if you want to write a book, I also give free consultations, no charge to you. And we can talk about your book idea, and I'll give you a few next steps just so you can stay on the right track. That is my company's motto: on the right track, both life, business, and books. We'll see you next time.
Bye, and thank you.